What's up guys, welcome back to the Run with Jay channel. So today we have a special shoe showdown between two powerhouses of the marathon racing category. We have the tried and true Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2 going up against the new Asics Metaspeed Sky. So this should be a very interesting shoe showdown because both of these shoes, in my opinion, are so similar. They're both super quick and fast, and I can't wait to compare both of these shoes to see which one of these will reign supreme. And as usual, we will review these two shoes between 5 different categories. So we have design and features, cost and value, comfort, weight, and performance. And we're going to give each of these categories a score of 1 to 5. And at the end, we're going to tally up the totals to see which shoe reigns supreme. So if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe button as well as the bell for notifications. And to all of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your contributions and support. So let's get the shoe showdown started. The first category we're going to look at is design and features. And feel free to check out the links below to see the full review of these two shoes. So starting out with the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2. So this shoe is tried and true, and it's been tested by hundreds and if not thousands of runners for all over the world. This year, in its second year, it's made some nice upgrades, especially to the upper. It's made it more form-fitting, so your feet is more locked in. A lot of the other stuff of the shoe is still same as from last year. If they haven't changed the foam, if it's been working, why change it, right? So Nike did make some additions to the top of the shoe for reinforcements. Also, changed the the upper material into this new mesh material instead of the vapor weave, which helps with breathability. Other than that, they've added some cushion in the heel area. Changed the laces to the serrated laces, which helps keep your shoe laced up longer. But other than that, the shoe is still fast, still quick and snappy, and that Zoom X foam is one of my all-time favorite foams. Next entering, we have the new Asics Metaspeed Sky. This shoe is also nice and quick and snappy. The new Flight Foam Blast cushion is amazing. It feels very similar to the Nike Zoom X foam. I really like this foam. It's super soft, quick, responsive, so just like the Nike Zoom X foam. And in fact, I feel like this foam is a little bit more softer while you're running, especially in the forefoot area, because I feel like there's more foam in the forefoot area compared to the Nike Zoom X. Just a tad a little bit though, but the landing, I definitely feel like the Flight Foam Blast is much softer, just by a tad bit compared to the Zoom X foam. Other than that, the top is also engineered mesh, very breathable and lightweight. The laces I'm not a big fan of. It's so basic. It's just basic cotton, regular laces, and it is frays very easily. So after tying it a couple times, you already see some fraying of the laces. So not a big fan of that. There's a light padding in the heel and collar area. Nothing too fancy to brag about. Similar to the Zoom X foam of the Vaporfly, there's also a little bit of a heel collar padding as well to give you some cushion in the back of the Achilles area. Other than that, the shoe is lightweight, basic, and the Flight Foam is just unbelievable. I feel like this is probably the closest foam that any competitor has come to matching the Zoom X foam. And the way it rides, the responsiveness, along with the carbon fiber plate in both of these shoes, makes this Metaspeed Sky a treat to run in. On the bottom of these two shoes, you have rubber on the top of the shoe, and on the bottom it's very similar, where it's not on the entire bottom, but just on the sides. So on the Metaspeed Sky, you have it on the outer edges as well as the Vaporfly Next Percent, and then the rest is exposed foam. So both of these shoes are very similar in that regards. Design-wise, both of these shoes, in my opinion, look very nice. I really like the design of the new Vaporfly Next Percent, the colorway as well. This shoe just looks fresh, fast, and I really like this new aqua hue that they released. The Metaspeed Sky, I really love this colorway and design as well. The shoe just looks fast and fierce, and if you're looking at your video of yourself running with these shoes on, it literally looks like your feet is on fire. So I really like the design and the look of the shoe. Very like Asics-like, similar to their Meta Racer last year with that orange look. It looks fast, it looks quick. Design-wise, both of these shoes look great to me. So for scoring for design and features, both of these shoes are top-notch. I'm going to give both of these shoes a score of a 5. The next category we're going to look at is cost and value. So in terms of cost and value, both of these shoes cost about the same, $250 a piece. And I know in some countries, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 actually decreased in price for about $25. But here in the US, unfortunately, we aren't that lucky to get that discount. So both of these shoes remain the same. And as these shoe prices increase, I feel like $250 is pretty much like the standard now if you want a top, end shoe. The Adidas Adios Pro costs $200. The Endorphin Pro costs $200 as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if those shoes go up in price next year as well, or when the new version comes out. So in terms of cost and value, both of these are same. You both get for $250 a super quick shoe with new technology, very lightweight, snappy, and a very comfortable shoe for long distances or any type of races you want to use these in. And the Vaporfly Next Percent used to be the gold standard before all of these other shoes came out with their foam technology, and now all of these companies are catching up, which I'm very happy about. For runners, it gives us a lot of options to choose from, which is always great. But for cost and value, both of these shoes are very similar, and there's for scoring, I feel like they're the same to me as well. So for scoring for cost and value, both of these shoes get a score of 3.5 simply because they cost $250 and they're very expensive in my opinion for average runners. So after 2 rounds, both of these shoes are deadlocked with a score of 8.5. The next category we're going to look at is comfort. So comfort-wise, both of these shoes are super comfortable for marathon racing or any type of races. The Zoom X foam has been my all-time favorite foam, and this shoe is just super comfortable to run in, and for longer distances as well. It's just so soft, responsive, and cushioned. And now you introduce the Metaspeed Sky. This shoe takes it to a whole nother level. I feel like the Flight Foam Blast Turbo is just amazing as well. Very comfortable, very soft, responsive, and I feel like when you're running this Asics Metaspeed Sky is actually a tad bit more softer in your foot compared to the Zoom X foam. So this is very surprising to me. So both of these shoes super comfortable, minimal padding, and that's because to shave some weight. The tongue on the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 does have a little bit of padding compared to the Asics tongue, which doesn't have any padding at all. And then in the Achilles area for both of these shoes, there's a little bit of padding at the end for your heels. So very minimal shoe with light padding, which is expected for a top-end marathon racing shoe that's meant to save weight. So in terms of comfort, both of these are super comfortable to me. One thing to keep in mind that the Asics tongue does slide down a little bit for me, which was a little bit of a nuisance, but I feel like maybe after I break it in for a while, that shouldn't be a problem. So in terms of scoring for comfort, both of these shoes get a score of a 5. So after 3 rounds, both of these shoes are still tied with a score of 13.5. The next category we're going to look at is weight. Weight-wise, both of these shoes are probably one of the lightest shoes you can find in the marathon racing category. The Metaspeed Sky is probably the lightest shoe, only to maybe the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 or the Next Percent 1. So the Metaspeed Sky weighs at about 7 ounces for a size 9, while the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 weighs at just about 6.8 ounces for a size 9. So the Next Percent 2 weighs a tad bit lighter compared to the Metaspeed Sky. And then the Metaspeed Edge, which is supposed to come out in June, is actually a little bit lighter, going at about 6.7 or 6.8 for a size 9. So the weight is so similar that, one probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But in terms of statistics, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 is the lighter shoe in my opinion. But when you're running, you probably wouldn't be able to feel the difference. But, over time, maybe over 26.2 miles, you might notice, or it might have an effect on your legs. So in terms of weight, both of these shoes are in the top of its class. They're both super light and compared to all of the other shoes in the competition. But in terms of scoring, I'm going to give the Metaspeed Sky a score of a 4.8 and the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 a score of a 5. So after 4 rounds, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 just took a slight lead over the Metaspeed Sky with a score of 18.5 to 18.3. The final round to decide it all will be performance. Performance wise, you probably wouldn't be able to find any other shoes that performs just as well for any races or any type of running that you would have, like tempo runs or fast runs. The Vaporfly Next% 2 has been tried and tested by tons of athletes, and this shoe just definitely performs. It used to be, at the time, considered one of the fastest shoes out there, and all of the people wearing marathons are wearing the shoe. Now you have a lot of other shoes coming up in the competition, like the Metaspeed Sky, where we saw a prototype of this shoe last year in the London Marathon. So, technology is catching up to Nike, and, performance-wise, there are a lot of shoes now that perform great, which is, awesome for runners who have options to, a lot of options to choose which shoe fits them the best. So performance-wise, both of these shoes will perform at the top, of the competition. And if you're going to run a marathon in these shoes, there's probably no other options out there except for maybe like the Vaporfly Next% or some other brands from the top, like the Endorphin Pro. So if you were to choose a shoe for a marathon, both of these shoes will probably be top choices for a lot of athletes all over the world. So they both perform very well. They'll keep your legs fresh and happy over 26.2 miles, and you'll definitely be able to get your PRs in any type of races or in your marathon as well. So in terms of performance, both of these shoes get a score of a 5. So the scores are in, and we have a winner. And the winner of this shoe showdown is the Nike Vaporfly Next% 2, just barely edging out the Metaspeed Sky with a score of 23.5 to 23.3. So this was a super close battle between these two shoes, and even though the Nike Vaporfly Next% 2 took the victory, I still consider both of these shoes pretty much tied in terms of overall performance. Both of these shoes, they're just quick, fast, and super comfortable. And in my opinion, I feel like the Metaspeed Sky might be a tad bit more softer while you're running compared to the little bit stiffer Vaporfly Next% 2. The offset for both of these shoes are a little bit different, so you might have a little bit of an ankle tightness over a long period of running with the Metaspeed Sky with the low offset compared to the Vaporfly Next%, but overall you'll get, your legs will thank you if you're using any of these shoes for longer races. So you basically can't really go wrong with any of these shoes. I was super impressed with the Metaspeed Sky that Asics has released this year, and I'm looking forward to the Metaspeed Edge when that comes out, which is more catered toward cadence runners as opposed to stride runners with the Metaspeed Sky and the high stack height. So both of these shoes are your high stack shoes, and they're both at the end of the top of the technology chain for marathon racing shoes, and they're both a fun joy to run in. And for any of these shoes, either one you pick, you have a great race, and you'll probably get a PR in your race as well. So in my opinion, both of these shoes are amazing. I'm actually leaning towards trying out the Metaspeed Sky for some of my races now, because I feel like Asics has really taken their shoes to a new level, and I feel like the Flight Foam Blast Turbo is definitely a super nice foam, and I really enjoy the little tiny bit of softness that I get for running in the shoes. So if Asics were to solve some of the issues with the current Metaspeed Sky, like the laces and some of the tongue, I feel like this shoe will probably be better than any shoe out there in the future, unless Nike drastically makes a radical change with their Vaporfly line next year. So if you're a tried and true Nike Vaporfly or Alphafly runner, I encourage you to give the Asics shoe a shot. Maybe you'll actually like the feeling of that shoe better compared to the tried and true of the Vaporfly Next%. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you think the Metaspeed Sky should have won, or you prefer one shoe over the other. I think it's great that we have so many options as runners now to choose which shoe we want. And I know there are a lot of hardcore Vaporfly fans out there that, would always run in Vaporflies, but it's just great to have other options. And, you might be thoroughly surprised if you try on the Asics that you prefer that new feeling instead of the tried and true feeling that you've been running in. So if you guys have any other comments, feedback, or questions, please feel free to leave them down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that like and subscribe button. I hope you guys are all staying safe and your training's going well. And I'll talk to you guys on the next Shoe Showdown.